And we are ready to go.
Okay, we
Commission Member Bicknell and Green, can you hear us now?
Now I can. It looks like maybe
Commission Member Bicknell and Green, can you hear us now?
I can hear you, but there's a really bad echo.
Yeah, we are working on that.
microphone check 1, 2, 3.
Check, check.
Do it.
Commission Member Green and Bignell, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can as well.
Okay. Should we start over? Okay.
All right, we will call this meeting of the College Place Parks, Arbor and Recreation Board meeting to order on September 27, 2024. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Commission Member Fry,
Here.
Commission Member Bissell,
Present.
Commission Member Bignell,
Here.
Commission Member Green,
Here.
Commission Member Teal.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
All right, do we have any public comment this morning?
No.
Okay, then I need a motion to approve our consent agenda. So moved. It's been moved. I need a second.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
The consent agenda is approved. All right, we will move on to our presentation today, our Parks Plan update. John?
Thank you. As you guys are aware, we have JEB Engineers as our consulting team that's helping us update our parks plan. We have Elizabeth Smith and Justin Bearlock are here today, and they're going to work us through the latest, go over the survey, and then work on talk about our existing inventory and so on. So this is Elizabeth.
Thank you. The one that has the talking face on it. Yep. Okay, not too close. Okay, perfect. Well, hi everyone. My name is Elizabeth Smith. I'm with JEB Engineers here with Justin. We've been working on the Parks Open Space and Recreation Plan update over the last couple months. And we will kind of get started. Does everyone have a copy of the agenda for this presentation? Okay, awesome. Just to go over kind of the purpose of the presentation and our portion of the meeting today is just to review the existing parks plan, identify opportunities to improve the goals and policies, and we have some recommendations that we wanted to share, and then update the existing or share the updated inventory. Was that you and me? Okay, cool. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so we already went over this slide. Please. Thank you. Okay, so we did a community input survey this summer and we received 150 responses. And it sounds like you had a copy of the survey results at our last PAR board meeting. So these are just some highlights on their top priorities, most visited park, most desired park type, most desired trail type, and how residents receive information. This just is a highlight of the survey results. And to note, the survey results are something that we use to focus our goals and policies updates on. So we took those results and used those to update the goals and policies. Slide, please. Thank you. So the existing goals and policies have included in an attachment that you have this morning. We won't be going over every single goal and every policy individually, but I welcome any feedback or comments that you have on the ones that we don't go over specifically. Okay, perfect. If you could stay on this slide just for a minute. So thank you. So the RCO, which is the Recreation and Conservation Office, they have a manual too that guides how a parks plan needs to be outlined in all the required documents. And we are updating this parks plan to meet those standards for future funding. And it requires goals and objectives to be clearly stated in the plan. Based on this requirement, JB has recommended restructuring the goals and policies. So in the current parks plan, there are just core values, and we are updating those to be goal statements. Slide. And so those are shared here. You have a copy of them. I don't need to read to you from the screen, but this is our recommendation to create goal statements for each category of goals. Slide. So I'll just kind of quickly go over each recommendation that we have for the goal or policy based on each category. So in the equity and access category, we're just recommending including paved pathways for all in objective 3 that discuss barrier-free access to all the facilities. And that was pulled from survey question 11. And policy 7 through discussions with staff was, this was requested by staff. So we have included that as well. And does everyone have a copy of the full goals and objectives with the updates on there so you can see kind of the comprehensive list? Okay, perfect. Okay, slide. Thank you. So in the community oriented section, we have 4 or 3 updates all requested by staff. So adding an objective that includes collaborating with nonprofit organizations for operations and maintenance. 2 policies discussing development of a community recreation center in the Stone Creek Master Plan development area and developing a multi-purpose Lions Park Community Center. Slide. We have 1 update from the survey results question number 1 in the environmental stewardship, provide natural and open space parks in College Place. Slide. In the facility integrity section, we have a handful of updates here. It looks like there are 6 or 7. So this first bullet was from survey question number 9. So implementing reservation fees. Based on the feedback in the survey, a lot of residents said that they would be willing to pay reservation fees that could help, fund some of or generate revenue. Slide. Okay. Actually, can you go back one? Okay, I might have missed one in the PowerPoint, but there was an extra policy that was requested by staff for the new priority park. It should be listed in. Might not have highlighted it, but it is apply for funding through RCO to update Lions Park, and this is a priority park in the city. So we can send an updated version of this with the correct formatting just to make sure that it's obvious that this is an update. Yes. Okay, slide, thank you. Let's see, policy 8 and 9 were based on survey question number 1. And so this is to prioritize restroom improvements, trailheads, and open space recreation areas. And another policy to have shade structures in addition to tree canopies at parks. Slide. Okay, 10 and 11 were also requested by staff. And so policy 10 is long-term staffing plan for maintenance and needs as the park facilities increase. Policy 11, explore nonprofit or other agency collaborations or partnerships to develop an ice rink. Slide, please. Oh, it did go. Okay, thank you. Okay, there we go. Okay. In the health and wellness section, policy number 1, this update was pulled from survey question number 1. So just adding trail connectivity, that was something that respondents prioritized in the survey results. Policy number 7 was pulled from just other discussions with staff, implementing a fee structure. And we also wanted to expand the age listed here, so including all age groups, not just youth and adults, so including seniors. Okay, if you can go back one slide. So those are the recommended updates or changes that we have for this section. Like I said, we aren't going over every single goal or policy, but I welcome any comments or feedback on this, either now or, whenever. Is there a general temperature on kind of some of these suggestions? I don't know if we're allowed to have conversation. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is the first time that I've seen ice rink.
Okay.
Can you explain more where that came from and what the objectives are there?
Yeah, so I think I would probably look to John a little bit. We had conversations with Mike and John on this, and that came from.
So if you remember, for many, many years, there was the ice chalet, I believe, and that I think was operated by the YWCA. It's no longer in operation, and there is a group out there, and I don't know if they're a really formalized group, but they have approached the city about the idea of a collaboration with some sort of nonprofit operated, in conjunction with the city ice rink of some sort. I don't think that we're at a point to where I could tell you like the level of demand for that, but there is interest out there. So we thought it would be a good idea to include something in our park plan so that we could, if the opportunity arises, we could expand on that.
Yeah, and keeping it general and vague. That way, if there are, a different agency or a different group that wanted to approach the city, and we're not, locked into just one specific group.
I like it. I'm really interested to learn more as things progress. But there's a lot of things that could do that may fit a need. I know that there's a lot of Canadian kids that come down for the university, and they have a propensity for playing games where you lose teeth and hit a thing around. So that could actually be really popular. It would fit in really nice with our Winterfest ideas too, because it differentiates us. But sorry, I won't get on a tangent. Thanks for answering the question.
Yes, thank you, John. Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns?
I've got a couple of comments that kind of, one was within involvement of community residents in the planning stage, but it doesn't say anything about in the operations or maintenance stage. If I would pull a theme across this, would be volunteerism and purpose. That's clearly part of longevity. And this is Blue Zone's ideas. Longevity is generated by purpose and volunteerism. And I think our parks would be better places if we had a clear path for community members to be involved and volunteering, both in the planning stage as well as some way in the maintenance and operations stage.
So are you imagining maybe like a goal, objective, or policy that is focused on volunteerism and kind of the community oriented, that in the community oriented section, that'd probably be an appropriate place for something of that nature.
Well, it could be community, both in the community section as well as the health and wellness goals.
Okay.
Of by providing a local opportunity for volunteerism, then you're meeting health and wellness objectives also.
Sure. Is there currently any volunteer opportunities for any of that for parks maintenance or in the city?
Yeah, there certainly is. And in years past, there have been certain volunteerism that's gone for like maintenance of the streams, like pulling out, invasive weeds and whatnot. But there's got to be other opportunities out there. And maybe Mike looks like he wants to add something to that.
Yeah, I mean, we have local Boy Scout programs that come through. I know Wall University, they do a large cleanup of the whole city with the parks and throughout the whole community as well. Other organizations have done cleanups, more focused around the park areas.
A lot of times those activities take place around like Earth Day and
Sure.
Or like we have there's been some organizations that have volunteered to plant trees in public spaces, and actually even fundraising to acquire the trees.
Okay.
And one of my data points is I have a daughter who lives in Portland, and the favorite park down the street is this gorgeous rose garden, not the rose garden, but a rose garden, and it is all the maintenance is driven by a volunteer group.
Yeah, that's a great example. Walla Walla's Rose Garden over in Pioneer Park is maintained by a volunteer organization. I know I've heard of volunteers being responsible for making sure that the pet waste bags, those stations are full, and that the little trash cans are emptied, things like that. There've got to be more exciting opportunities as well. But
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
And part of that is addressing, I love the youth and doing the Earth Day once a year things, but I think our seniors are more like they could walk through the park every day and report or say there's a maintenance issue where you never could pay enough staff to pay that sort of attention.
Yeah, I think another example would be in Lions Park, we're going to have these exercise stations scattered throughout the park, and those are going to need to be cleaned, wiped down, whether it's just from a dust storm that came through or just general sanitary, wipe the hand poles down, all that kind of stuff. So that's another example. Not glorious work, but
Important. Yep. Okay, perfect. Taking just a few notes. We could go to the next slide. Thank you.
I was gonna say, and maybe this is in the weeds somewhere else, but I don't see lighting addressed.
Okay.
And I know we have some standards, right? I want to make sure, because I think properly lit spaces equal safety and access. So I just don't know if that fits here as an objective, or if that's nested underneath.
Okay. Yeah, I took some notes. We'll definitely look on where that would be best, and we'll kind of see what we can do on that. Thank you. Any other last questions, comments before we move on to the inventory section? Hearing. Yes, thank you.
Anybody online, Mr. Green or Ms. Bicknell?
I just really, really fully support the concept of really interweaving the volunteerism into the plan. I think that was a really great suggestion, and love it.
Thank you. Okay, we will move on to inventory. So everyone should have a copy of this facilities maps that we prepared. I think whether now or in the future, if you're able to mark it up, show what we're missing, what needs to be added, if there is anything that maybe is misinterpreted incorrectly, we'd love all the comments. We want this to be a comprehensive facilities map for the city. So, please mark it up. Please add your comments. We'd love to see those. If you could go to the next slide, please. So I've included a matrix for all of the parks in the city, and the ones at the end of the list in red are proposed parks, or the red is showing improvements that are in progress. So like the pound sign or the hashtag sign is, let's see, the number isn't determined yet how many restrooms are going to go at Veterans Park, or hasn't been included in this matrix. So kind of like the inventory map, I would welcome any comments or updates to this as well, whether on the condition, which is shown in green, kind of just on that top row, mainly for Kiwanis. Yellow is good, and the red is poor condition. So if there are any updates that need to be made based on any comments that you've heard from the community or from your own personal experience, we'd also welcome those as well. Okay.
Just one point of clarification really quick. And maybe I'm misremembering, but on Veterans Park, I think that one we had talked about it having a pickleball court and a basketball court rather than 2 pickleball courts. Am I mistaken in that?
Well, I think that's accurate, and we'll be doing an update on that in detail here after this agenda item.
Awesome.
Okay.
So I had a quick question. So this, and maybe you mentioned it, this is the inventory matrix based on our current plan?
Yes, and then
okay.
Yeah, and then the red is just some things that we've learned through conversations with you and Mike, and some of the site plans that we've seen.
Okay.
So definitely a work in progress. So moving on to kind of the demographics section of the plan. So on the left here, we have a list of the current demographics in the plan. And on the right, we're looking at adding disabled populations and obesity. I believe there's one more that I did
Going
not put
back
on this
for
list.
one second.
Yes.
Did we ever consider the idea of a stage or a performance area as one of the attributes of one of the parks? I'm imagining small, but like a band or something, especially as part of a community festival, that you then have a place for that.
Didn't we have some of that go on when we were talking about the remodeling of the building that we were talking about for the library?
Yeah,
that was the back side of that building.
Yeah, that's correct. Kind of where they've done the market in the past. The plan was to have that back patio kind of have a space that would serve for small performances and things as well.
And that's at the library? Lansburg, okay.
So we could just add that as an attribute on that matrix.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think that's valid. There's, I think, use for that. Yeah, it might want to be folded into this somehow.
And that could be as kind of a, at Lions Park, as we've discussed, with ideas about the new building going there. Or it could be, at a future park too. If we do have a lot of things crammed into Lions Park, I will say, but I think, having it in there as a feature that, we want somewhere, it's important to us. It'd be good to capture that.
Thank you. Kind of going back to the demographics section, I have the list here on the left showing the existing demographic categories that we show in the plan, and then on the right is the categories that we'll be adding. And so welcome to suggestions or recommendations on additional demographics that we could show in the future plan. Slide, please. So I just have a couple shown here with current data showing population projections from 2020 all the way to 2030. The median age, populations under 19 and over 65, the gender comparison, and race and ethnicity. Slide.
On the demographics, are we also including a comparison with the state average on these things?
Yes,
Okay.
yep.
Sorry, maybe maybe I'm jumping ahead.
No, I'm on these slides, I'm just showing kind of city data, but in
Okay.
the report, we'll definitely be showing comparison to state. Yep, so some just other data points. So housing units, owner versus vacant, renter versus homeowner, and then the size of households and how many, one-person households there are in the community versus 4+ slides. Employment industry, kind of the top employment sectors. The list here on the right just shows all the employment sectors in the city, with the top sector being education, healthcare, and social assistance as 37% of the employment industry in College Place. I think that is the last slide for demographics. So are there any questions or comments on kind of the categories that we plan to show or want to show, or any improvements that could be made in that section?
Where did the data come from?
American Community Survey and OFM, which is the Office of Financial Management and Census. And in the report, we'll show all of the data, but in the appendix and then in the report, we'll kind of just have a simplified infographic. Okay, no other comments? Slide, please.
I really do like the graphics that you're using
Awesome.
in this.
Okay.
So incorporating that into our, obviously the report, but into the plan as well.
Yes.
It really stands out as opposed to our, like this is snapshots from our history section of the park plan, and it's just kind of boring.
Yeah, just putting it in little snapshots that are easy to digest and see quickly. It's definitely helpful. Moving on to the city history section. So this is just kind of a snippet, not meant to really be read. You should have a copy of the entire city history timeline from the plan. I just wanted to open up any suggestions or important dates or time in history that need to be added to this timeline. It ends at 2017. So, there's been a little bit of time passed since the last important point in our timeline.
I guess my only comment would be associated with this timeline. There's a bunch of photos that exist, and that's kind of like how much of that would help the visual interest and engagement. So it just depends how long and extensive that would help. Yeah, no, pictures would be great. Is that something that the city or this group has access to that they'd be able to share? We always love pictures, more pictures, the better.
We do have an inventory of pictures. And so we can look through the history and try to pull out some that are appropriate for the plan.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and not just the city history timeline specific, but if there are any other photos that you think are plan worthy, like please send them to John and Mike, and we can decide, which ones are the best for the plan. Like I said, more
Leif
pictures,
probably
the better.
has some pictures of his wedding at Lions Park.
Yeah.
And
Put it right on the
we
cover.
could put that. What year? Yeah, what year was that?
Yeah.
I will take a look through the online access to the Walla University
Okay.
archives also, because they have going way back.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Is that just a local resident or?
Yeah, sorry, he's a guy who works at the university. He's been involved with media and is an active photographer, may have something in his collection that's up to date.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Okay, slide please. So that is kind of the end of the updates and really just going into our next steps or what to expect in the next couple months. So as we're wrapping up September, we'll be finalizing our inventory, the demands and needs analysis, and finalizing the updated goals and objectives. Kind of moving into the future for October, we'll be drafting our capital improvement plan, creating a draft report to share with the city for review and comment, and then plan to have the final plan adopted in December. Thank you. Are there any questions, comments, things that we want to go over or?
Any online for questions for Elizabeth? Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And if there are any questions, you think of later today, please send them to John or us and we'll be happy to incorporate them into the plan. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the Veterans Park Improvement Project with Mr. Rickard, Mr. Holden.
So Mr. Holden is our project manager and he knows more about this project than I do. So I'm gonna let him take it.
Yeah, thank you, Park Board, for allowing me the opportunity to come in. We came back and we showed you guys back in May a very preconceptual design of what we intend to do at Veterans Park. We met last month with JUB, our engineering team, and this is where we're at with the 60%. We're currently waiting. Mr. Vitello went back to RCO for additional funding. The playground equipment come in a little bit more than we anticipated. We went with a military theme playground. We've added a couple more items with the restroom. We added a water bottle filler, dog bowl. We've another security camera, an additional Veterans Park sign off of Dones, and the ADA ramp coming off of Dones, which will allow parking on the Dome Street side. We'll have an ADA ramp as well off of Homestead to allow with removable bollards for maintenance vehicle and ADA access. Yeah, this is kind of where we're with the nuts and bolts of it, what we've come with. Again, like I said, we're waiting on final funding. I know the scoring just came in recently. Hopefully we have a final answer in the end of the month, 1st of October, to allow us to proceed accordingly.
I think there's 2 grants that we applied for through RCO, different, they would fund different elements of it. I think one of them is like the multi-use field part and the other is, the playground and sports complex stuff. We didn't rank very high in the scoring of those and because most of it's need based. But there have been times, for instance, like when we redid Kiwanis Park, we didn't rank high in the need base for those grants that we received, but occasionally the state will actually just take that whole list of whoever applied and that becomes the budget. And so that's how we got our grants awarded at Kiwanis Park. So we're hopeful. This is an election year, and so they like to fund projects. So we're really hopeful that we'll actually have awards for this project. To address Mr. Green's comments, you can see there's 2 pickleball courts and then a basketball court that has full court ability and also baskets for additional baskets on the side. So yeah, the ADA ramp coming off the domes I think is a great feature because it would be hard to access the park without that if you have a disability. The park standards include lighting, so we will have adequate pedestrian lighting within the park. There's an existing flagpole and a Korean War monument at the park that would remain, and those are off of the Homestead side of the park. Any questions or could you pull up the slide that shows the play equipment? I think it might just be the next screen.
I do have a question on this along Dones. I know because it's coming off the hillside. Is there fencing along this basketball court or something to keep the balls as best we can? I'm just thinking about kids chasing balls into this road, and it's a
Sure.
pretty steep.
Maybe go back to the site plan. Sorry. And Mike, maybe you can address that.
We did put up a fence around the pickleball courts. It chose not to do the basketball or the fence around the basketball court because of the fence on the west side of the basketball court. The elevation difference from domes down to the basketball court is fairly significant, so we didn't foresee any basketball bouncing out in the domes. But we can
So
definitely take
it's how, what do you estimate?
it's about 10 feet.
10 feet rise?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that area where that ADA ramp is
Mhm.
on the dome side is significant. It's a really steep slope,
Okay.
hence that's why we have that ramp going down in there. So there's, I mean, you got a real air ball situation going on that no fence is gonna stop if it gets a ball.
You've
gets a
never
run.
seen me play. Okay, yeah, I mean, just making sure that was a consideration. The other question I have is lighting around those courts. I know that, obviously they're close to homes here. The other ones are clear up on the hillside, but just wondering about the noise level, how late we want to encourage that play to occur right there in the middle of that neighborhood.
Mike, does the plan include court lighting?
It does include a little bit of court lighting, not a whole lot, mostly around the playground and the walk path. And with the plantings of the trees, we initially looked at planting row of trees up against that north fence. The JUB feels with the trees around the playground and behind in front of the bathrooms is a good enough buffer for noise. Those trees will be, I think they're no taller than 25 feet tall to accommodate the sight of line with the security camera that we'll be putting in on domes as well.
And from a lighting standpoint, if we do end up putting actual court lighting on there, they would be, a designed, engineered lighting system. So, they'd be forced in. I wouldn't mean any glare, nothing shooting up onto the hill, into the houses.
I just know that that neighborhood is our youngest neighborhood, and so they've got kids, and I'm just thinking if people are playing pickleball till all hours, I don't know if you've been around a pickleball court, but
the other thing, those sort of public lighting features, they're usually actuated, so they're not on all the time, and then you can program them, so if you want the park to be dark at 10 o'clock in the summer or 10:30 or whatever, you can just program it to have them shut off, and you can't turn them back on. So and that, we don't really have any regulations on how we would handle that. We have to figure that out as we go.
I live next to 6 pickleball courts. And I can say, from my perspective, I don't really care. It's fine. I mean, we selected our site because we're kind of in the middle of things. That's good. And it's been a great place, but I know that other people don't always see pickleball courts as an asset because of the noise. And there's likely to be some contention about those if it's not sort of planned when they do. You've got a very valid point. Some people hate the noise. It's a downside. It's, so figuring out how that, interacts with the community there, you might want to consider that when you're thinking about lighting. I think lighting would be a great thing to have, and obviously it's in the plan. Just want to say that not everybody likes pickleball courts. So
yeah, and this is a beautiful conceptual design. I think it's thoughtful, and I think we don't want it to get shot full of holes with some of those things, but so being really intentional about park hours, about lighting hours, and things like that we get ahead of those things to say, we are putting the plants and the shrubbery and the trees in this way because the data or research shows that these are good sound buffers. I think things like that people go, oh, okay, well they've thought about some of these things. It's not going to be nothing's going to be perfect. you go listen to our playground at Davis when kids are out there, and it's loud, right? But it's a good loud. I love that loud. So you naturally have that with parks, but just being really planful to articulate that to the people in that area.
All good points, which kind of leads into my part of this topic, is that we are getting close to going out and doing the environmental review and public comment portion of the development of this park. So hopefully in October, we will put out a notice to the residents in the Homestead development about the development of this park. And we'll be seeking their feedback. So hopefully we hear from those people that are lovers or haters of pickleball. And those are landmines. So this is just, some of the equipment that we've selected. Kind of a military theme, being Veterans Park.
The Coast Guard isn't really on here.
Oh, Coast Guard veteran.
Yeah.
No, you're not. Okay, any additional feedback on this topic?
No, I know she's kind of kidding, but I agree. If you're going to go, make sure we incorporate every single branch in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just slapped on the side of a little bit of one of these, I don't know, this upside down plunger device.
Maybe a good way that we could accomplish that is in the surface area, because it will be one of those rubberized surface areas, and we can pretty much do anything we want in there. And we could probably put the logo or insignia of each arm of each branch, in there somehow. That's just an idea.
Space Force too.
What is that?
Is that your spinny thing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's one of those at grade merry-go-round.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for the cue. All right, that is it for our presentations. We have no reports. So our next regular scheduled meeting is October 25th. Motion to adjourn, please.
I move we adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.